But I also want the audience to understand why. Like we could talk about, refined seed oils having bad, but also why you're choosing things like beef tallow, because I understand more companies are going to that. But could you go into the health benefits of going, from seed oil to something like tallow and how you chose, let's say, coconut oil for some things? Because again, people may not understand why not use a singular for everything if it's healthy.
Good question. So to address the first part, like, why these kind of oils versus seed oils. And I'm sure you've covered this on different episodes. And I'll start by saying I'm not, I'm not carnivore MD by any means. I'm a secondhand researcher. But the understanding is that there's two issues with seed oils. One, it's how they're extracted, right? So they use super volatile compounds to actually extract these oils from these seeds they originate in. So they use things like hexane and a bunch of other chemicals that honestly go far beyond my understanding. Just things you would never, ever consider eating. If you go down the history, canola oil was originally used. It was like a byproduct of like machine lubricant and all this. And so there's kind of that aspect, which is the actual processing side of these oils. Then there's the aspect that, our bodies aren't designed to live off a large amounts of these kind of fats. So the most cited one that like Paul Saladino talks about a lot is linoleic acid, right? And when you look at it, like linoleic acid is found in animal meats. It's just and animal fat, sorry. It's just such a small degree. And so when you start looking at the proportions, and you start looking at some kind of, I guess, evolutionarily and common sense approaches, which is the fact that like bears, for instance, will, before they hibernate, right, they'll eat a ton of nuts throughout the forest that are super high in linoleic acid. What does that do? It allows them to pack on all this extra fat and weight to subsist them through the winter hibernation period. Well, that sounds like an amazing, design of nature, right? And I guess if we were about to go months without food or months hibernating, you could make an argument maybe that linoleic acid should be, 60, 70% of an American's calories. But as we know, that's not how humans operate. That's not how we're designed. And so I think there's kind of two reasons why why no seed oils, right? And then the question of what fats we chose to use is there's multiple reasons. One, beef tallow is, again, my belief is probably the most not only satiating but just nutrient dense fat out there. Vitamins A, D, E, and K, and there's just it's loaded with nutrients to subsist you. There's a reason why when you eat, for instance, if you come and try our beef tallow French fries, you go through a small bag and you're like, okay, you're not bloated, so you're not this uncomfortable like, oh God, I can't eat anymore, but you're like, I don't really want to eat anymore. I'm very satiated, right? And as opposed to if you go eat McDonald's fries that are coated in all these chemicals to trick your senses into wanting more, you could go through a whole box of them. And so there's that aspect of tallow. Then there's also like, the historical and anecdotal precedence of using tallow, which is, it's usually a safe bet to use the oils and the fats that we were using for, thousands of years. Right. And so whenever I tell people, I obviously get pressed a lot by people who don't kind of follow this new Maha way of eating and this tallow movement and all this. And, I simply tell them like, hey, look, I understand there are studies out there that point to both aspects, and all the biological mechanisms aren't fully understood. And I for sure don't understand them as thoroughly as I'm sure does, or, name your expert. But I just encourage, like, we can do a simple test, right? You eat your French fries or whatever it is cooked in seed oils for one whole month. I'll eat mine cooked in tallow and let's measure the results. And I would bet I have almost bet my life savings on this, but I will bet the farm my health outcomes will be far superior than what happens to your body during that month. And so, anyway, I digressed a little there. The reason why we chose though, like extra virgin olive oil in the dressings and coconut oil in the rice, is one, I wanted the rice option to have, some people out there who don't eat beef, but they want their protein from chicken. And I didn't want to limit that. And coconut oil has amazing health benefits with the medium chain triglycerides, and has a bunch of antimicrobial benefits, and, the list goes on, as well as having a really nice kind of floral scent to the rice. But so I just simply wanted that, something not sauteed in beef tallow to give that option to people. And then extra virgin olive oil. Obviously you can't use solid fats in a liquid dressing, right? Because when you put them on the refrigerated line, if you put beef tallow in a dressing or coconut oil in a dressing, it would harden and separate. So that's where your liquid oils come in. And really, avocado oil is obviously okay as well. There's a lot of questions about the purity of avocado oil. But if you can get a really high quality organic extra virgin olive oil, and you don't heat it beyond a certain temperature, which in our case, using cold dressings, you're not heating it, there's a lot of health benefits to olive oil as well. Brian Johnson, I'm sure you follow along. He's a huge olive oil proponent, and I don't agree with a lot of the other stuff he does. But he is right. Like extra virgin olive oil has a lot of amazing health benefits. And again, it checks all those boxes of historical precedent, maybe not evolutionarily, because, you do got to press the olives, and there is, some work, but they were doing it for, again, a long, long time in ancient history. So it's usually a safe bet there as well.
Yeah, and a big part of what you're saying there as well is the quality matters, right? It's not just about the process of everything and that you're using, let's say, beef towel and everything.